Welcome back to the Dual Sense podcast. This is episode 2. I am your co-host, Jason. I'm joined by Travis. Travis, how's it going today?
It's going a little right, but it's okay.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's not such a good day for me because we found out today that Tenet, the new Christopher Nolan movie, has been delayed yet again into August. So at this point, I don't think the movie is ever going to come out. They delayed today because of COVID-19, spiking here in the U.S. So the pace we're going, it's just going to keep doing that. And so I assume that the movie's never going to come out. So.
It's the film version of CyberPunk. Do you think we'll get CyberPunk or Tenet first?
Honestly, that's a legitimate question at this point. I'm really not sure.
I'd rather have Tenet first.
I would too. I want to say Tenet, but here's the catch. Tenet requires you to be around other people in a movie theater because Christopher Nolan wants the movie to be seen in theaters and he doesn't want to release it on demand because that's not his vision for the film.
Yeah, naturally.
Yeah.
I would say most filmmakers are like that.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully things will calm down and the movie will actually come out in August and we'll get to go see it. And our lazy boys at the theater.
Yeah, right beside each other. We can lean back and fall asleep.
That's right. So this is a weekly PlayStation podcast where Travis and I dedicate an episode each week to discussing all things PlayStation, except for PlayStation VR because neither of us own it and neither of us really care about it. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, that's fair. And we also don't have like the balanced cortex for it. So, no reason to vomit and throw up and feel sick all day.
Yeah, I just want to play games with my controller. I don't need them to give me a migraine.
Yeah, I'm doing it to get away from real life. I don't want to feel like I'm in Silent Hill.
You'd shit your pants if you were in a Silent Hill VR game.
Absolutely.
So if you guys like what you hear, again, this is episode 2. If you enjoy the podcast, we would ask you that you please subscribe, rate us, and share us with your friends. And we're on several podcasting platforms currently, with more to come. We're just waiting for a podcast distributor to get us out on some more platforms, but eventually we'll be on everything. Currently, we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, which are 2 of the biggest ones, and we're on some other smaller ones as well. So, Travis, why don't we get started? Why don't you talk about what you've been playing this past week?
Well, I've been getting my brains pushed in on Call of Duty per usual. I'm good for one good game a night. Although we've been playing the gun game, which has been a blast, even though I come in 7th or 8th almost every single time. But I was really, really good at the gun game on previous CODs, and I have not caught up with the curve yet on this one. It is probably my second favorite COD game mode behind prop game. Prop game is the best ever.
I miss prop games so bad from Modern Warfare Remastered. I think it was.
Hilarious.
I really want them to bring that back, even if
you
it's just
see a light post rolling across the map for no reason.
Yes, and then the kill cams were always excellent. It's like a couch chasing behind a guy, behind somebody. It's awesome.
Oh, that's a good time. We finally made it to the championship round of NHL Chell last night, and promptly got lost 7-0. And then I think, what are we, like 75-80% on Dying Light this week? I think we're almost done with it.
Yeah, we're getting close. Anything else you've been playing?
No. I've been playing the Baseball Clash on my phone, but that's not a PlayStation game.
It's not. We can't talk about that here. We're going to have to strike that from the record. So I've also been playing Modern Warfare with you guys. Like you said, we mixed up the playlist, mixed in gun game this week along with our team death. So gun game's a lot of fun, especially on the night maps.
Yeah, we did some domination too.
Oh yeah, we did some domination, and we tried the weekly playlist. It's called Face Off, and it's 3v3 game modes on the gun game maps, which is actually kind of cool.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's quick.
It is quick, and like we played domination, I think, and it was almost impossible because you're just like right on top of each other.
Yeah,
so.
You keep A and C, and B is just forever chaos.
Yes, so we may have to try that again. Then I've also played Red Dead Online this week. Every day, of course, I got to get my daily challenges.
Yeah, how's your update?
I love that game. Yeah, so another Tuesday came and gone, and still no announcement of any kind of update from Rockstar. So I'm just over here putting on my clown makeup still. So, we played Dying Light. Like you said, we're getting close to the end of the story on that, but then we'll have to jump into the DLC with the
Doom buggies.
with the Doom buggies and the new map and everything, or the new board, as we like to call it, the joke. Mixed NHL with you guys. You guys finally got to the championship after I got off one night, so I guess I'm just the weakest link.
That's right.
I'm gonna go ahead and head out.
Keep that clown makeup on.
I tried Steep the other day, which is a Ubisoft.
What the hell is that?
It's a Ubisoft open world winter sports game. So you've played The Crew 2 with me for a little bit, remember?
Yeah.
It's like if you took The Crew 2 and put it in a winter sports game. So like you can switch between snowboarding and skiing and
bobsledding
and paragliding and wingsuiting. And
Wait, you paraglide in the snow?
Yeah, you jump
that
off
sounds
like
awful.
Yeah, you jump off like a peak, and then you like paraglide. And so I saw where someone posted a picture of it on Instagram of them wingsuiting down like a mountain, and it looked really sick. So I remember that it was a PS Plus game from a while back, and I always claim those. So I was like, you know what, I kind of want to try this. So I downloaded it. I played it for like a half hour the other night, and it's really cool. It's just a game you just get on and mess around on. You don't really have to you can just turn your brain off and play, and you don't have to worry about it. And just have
glide
fun.
right into a mountain. Look, honey, dead.
I'm going to tell you right now, I did a wingsuit into a couple of rock formations. I also, when you snowboard, you can get going so fast sometimes that you'll just hit a small incline and you'll just go flying in the air and you'll just lose control. And I smacked into a couple of rock formations
awesome
that way too. So yeah, but it's fun. It's a cool game. And then of course the big one for me is The Last of Us Part 2. So I didn't get to play a whole lot of it this week. Probably 6 hours or so into it. Played a little bit before we started the pod just now. I plan on playing at least a decent chunk this weekend, so hoping to get a third or more of the way through it.
We got two friends that have already beat it, right? And I think one of them has the platinum.
Yeah, he got the platinum, which is ridiculous. He had to play. I think he told me he had to play it 1.5 times. Because you have to.
Yeah.
He had to do the new game plus to go back and level up, or get everything fully upgraded. So I'm not going to get the platinum. I'm just going to play it and enjoy it. But it's an incredible game, and it's one of those games that it's a can't miss. So you should sack up and you should play it.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know about all that. By the way, do you want to tell people how many platinums that our buddy has?
Yeah. So you told me today that he has 96 platinum trophies. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't even know what to make of that.
Yeah. So John really needs to be on this podcast with us, but he doesn't. He'll never do it. But because he's out of the three of us, he's the biggest nerd. I'm the next biggest, and then you're third. So John has 96. I have 4 or 5, and I love games, and I beat a lot of games, but I don't platinum a lot of games. You have 0 platinum trophies, like we mentioned last time, and we've got to fix that. We need you to be a real gamer.
I think I'm going to keep it at 0. It's part of my identity. You can't fake who you are.
It's part of your lore, right?
Yeah. If I get one, it'll be a stupid hour-long game that I spent $2.99 on just to say I have one.
Yeah, you don't want to do the I am bread thing.
Yeah.
So let's get into the news this week. Quite a bit of news actually this week in the world of PlayStation and in games in general. So number one here is a big one, and it's an interesting one. So this week, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration greenlit the first video game to be used as a treatment for ADHD. And in their announcement, they said, quote, "We have greenlit the first game-based digital therapeutic device to improve attention function in children with ADHD. The prescription-only game-based device called Endeavor RX is for children ages 8 to 12 years old who suffer from ADHD." And what this, I watched the trailer for this. There's like a 60-second trailer that they put out with this, and it kind of reminded me of like Crash Bandicoot almost. Like it's kind of, you move through like a linear world, and you have objectives, and then the kids have to like pick certain things, but not this color thing. And so you can tell where it was kind of, therapeutic. So this is the first game ever that the FDA, the US FDA, has approved for use as a treatment for any kind of ailment or disease, and it will allow doctors to prescribe the iPhone and iPad game that I just mentioned to patients, and then so the way it works is they sign up on a wait list, which is now available for any interested families to sign up at getendeavor.com. So pretty neat. We now have video games as a treatment for illnesses. After all these years of people saying that it's an addiction. So what do you think about this?
Well, I mean, they use cocaine as a treatment. Now it's an addiction. So we're going in reverse with this, though. I've read studies before that have said that it's proven that games improve your cognitive decision making, or the speed of your cognitive decision making, your ability to focus, your ability to make decisions, all that fun stuff. I guess I'm surprised that they have made their own game. I guess that's the only way they can monetize it, is what I feel like.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the studio that made this game, if this is going to be the thing that they do. They just try to figure out that, they try to figure out different ways to make games that, can treat different illnesses, or not illnesses, but personality disorders or whatever, like ADHD. That's obviously it's not a physical ailment, I wouldn't say, but it's curious. It's kind of cool. So, and how it is in the US, it's for something like this to be basically approved as a medicine is really unique. So
yeah, and then we know that like board games, puzzle games, those type of games can improve or help people with like Alzheimer's, or people who are just forgetful in general.
Yeah.
We already know that. So this is kind of an extension of that. And I could say from personal experience, gaming does help with just general anxiety. Sometimes if I'm anxious, and I could just sit down and play a game, and just the act of focusing on beating this level or getting through this game at 2K or whatever can kind of balance my brain chemistry out and kind of focus my kind of pinpointed, if that makes sense, so I can deal with it. So, I mean, that'll probably never get passed by the FDA, but from my experience, it works on that level, so it should definitely work on other levels.
Yeah, that makes sense. So number 2 is a couple of pieces of The Last of Us Part 2 news. This week, fans, or maybe not fans, hard to say, created a petition on change.org requesting that The Last of Us Part 2 storyline be rewritten because it is, quote, terrible. At the time of this writing, it had over 12,000 signatures on the petition on change.org.
What makes it terrible?
So from what I can gather, a lot of people aren't happy with a couple of the big story beats or arcs, plot twists and developments. I only know of one of them. That's only how far I am in the game, and we won't spoil anything here for anybody, but I do know one specific reason people are upset that they think the storyline is trash. And then I know another part of it is that people generally believe that the game is just a referendum on social justice warrior stuff. So people are kind of crushing it for that. I take it. Look, it's a piece of art, basically. If it's a creation by somebody, it's like if I went to go read a book, I'm going to know what the book's about generally before I read it. And it's just somebody's interpretation of something. It's something that they've created in their mind that they put on paper or in a video game or whatever. So I don't think it's anything to get upset about. It's just somebody's take on something creatively. So,
yeah, just because my interpretation of your work might be different than your intention doesn't mean that I'm right.
Yeah.
Unintended consequences don't always require an entire rewrite of a game. I mean, is there one for how shitty Anthem is?
Right, and they're not making the game that we want them to make. They're making the game that they want to make. I mean,
Yeah.
they're the ones that, I mean, it's their work. I'm not going to tell somebody how to make something they've worked on for years. So it's their game. They made it how they wanted to. They wrote the story they wanted to write.
I'm going to go write DICE and tell them I don't like how on Battlefield 1 all the characters kept dying because it made me sad. And they're like, that's part of that. They did that on purpose so you'd understand how many people died. Like, I don't know. I just think it's silly. I bet, and I do think that if you could split the reviews of The Last of Us 2 into people with agendas and people who just played the game, that everybody with an agenda will give it a low score. And everybody who just played the game to play the game probably loves it.
Well, in spite of the negativity around the storyline, on Friday, Sony announced that The Last of Us Part 2 has sold through 4 million copies in the first 3 days since launch, making it the fastest-selling PS4 exclusive ever. The game's creative director, Neil Druckmann, also announced that there are no plans for DLC for the game. So it's the fastest-selling PS4 exclusive ever. They sold 4 million copies basically Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it doesn't sound like that the negative feedback on the storyline affected the sales too much, and it's one of the best and biggest PS4 games ever.
Maybe that pub was good for him, though. Brought attention to the game. People probably bought it to play it to see exactly what all the controversy was.
That very well could be. A lot of times it is. And I think it's good that they're not going to move forward with any kind of DLC on the game. It's not that type of game. Like, you just let them tell the story and let it, and then get out of the way, kind of thing. Like, we don't need to add on to it. It's not an RPG where you can have these different quests and stuff. Like, it's cool. Just tell the story, make the game, and then piss off. Like, don't ruin it, and we're good. So
I have a weird relationship with DLC. I kind of feel like it's similar to movie sequels. Like, do we always need a sequel or DLC? Like, sometimes it's fine the way it is. I don't need a new skin or, and I'm the type of guy, though, that once I beat a game, I'm not going to go back and play the game because I have a new shotgun.
Right. Yeah, that's not enough of a reason to go all the way back through. So number 3 is Eurogamer. The website Eurogamer reported this week that Rocksteady Studios is working on a Suicide Squad game for next gen, possibly titled Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, based on website domain names that popped up recently. A domain name also appeared for GothamKnightsGame.com, which could be what Warner Brothers Montreal is working on. Warner Brothers games is rumored. The Warner Brothers game is rumored to be cross-gen, meaning on the current gen as well as PS5 and the next Xbox, while the Rocksteady Studios Suicide Squad game is rumored to be only next-gen, a truly next-gen game. So this is kind of big news because Rocksteady has, not Rocksteady, but Warner Brothers, and it's hard to keep all these straight. So Rocksteady Studio and Warner Brothers Montreal are both studios under Warner Brothers Games. So Rocksteady Studios are the guys who made the most recent Batman Arkham games. Did you play those games?
No, I watched gameplay on the YouTube.
Okay. So those guys made that trilogy of games, and then they have apparently now moved on to a Suicide Squad game, while another studio, Warner Brothers Montreal, allegedly has been developing a new Batman game. Which these domain names and these rumors kind of seem to corroborate that. So that's kind of exciting. That's Warner Brothers has been teasing their new Batman game for a long time now on Twitter, just kind of on and off. So it's kind of time to shit or get off the pot with that one. So people are excited about it. Hopefully, we'll hear something soon on that.
How do people find these domain names?
That's a good question. I really don't know. I guess people, it's kind of like somebody on Reddit like goes every Monday and it's like, okay, what new domain names registered in the past 7 days? And they're like, all right, GothamKnightsGame.com.
Good Lord.
You know what I mean? It has to be that, right? Like somebody just has to be doing that.
Yeah, somebody with 96 platinums.
Yeah, we need to ask John how he does it. Number 4 is a bit of Cyberpunk 2077 news. This week, developer CD Projekt Red announced that current gen versions will be playable on next gen consoles at launch, with a full upgrade to next gen coming in 2021.
Which will be delayed.
Most likely. That will be available to download for free for all those playing the old gen version on the next gen consoles. The game was also recently delayed from its September 17th release date and will now release on November the 19th, presumably around the launch of the PlayStation 5. We also found out this week that they're going to be starting a video series called Night City Wire. And this past week, we got the first video in that series where they showed some new gameplay. They also announced that they've struck a deal with Netflix for a new anime series for the Cyberpunk universe that will come out in 2022. And following the stream of Night City Wire this week, gameplay previews went live on various news outlets across the globe. And the consensus of those previews seems to be that the game is ass. And one quote that I saw on Twitter was that it was going to be a game changer in the video game industry. So what do you think about this cluster of news here? Anything stand out?
Well, I watched the PlayStation Access video where they were playing the game, and it looked really sweet. I watched the part where they got down and the guy was driving the car a little bit. And
so they actually were able to record their gameplay and post it?
Yeah, and like they're not actually playing, they kind of like talking over it. And you can
Okay.
just go to PlayStation Access, it's on there, and you can watch them kind of goof off and do whatever. It looks pretty cool. They didn't show you the genital part, which is good because I don't really need to see that. But yeah, I mean, it looks cool. But again, I don't know. I'm kind of over it right now because it keeps getting hyped and hyped and hyped, and then they'll delay it. And then we get Keanu Reeves, and then it gets delayed. And then we do this, and it gets delayed. It's like, just wake me up when it's here.
So I'm a little bit upset that they delayed it from September, but on the other hand, on the PlayStation 5 hand, I'm kind of glad that they delayed it till November, because now I'm just going to wait until I have the PS5 and I'll just buy it and play it on PS5, natively on there, and not have to have it on PS4 first and all that stuff. So it kind of cleans that part of it up. But at the same time, I do wish I had it in September. I wish I had it now. We were supposed to already. But I've seen some of the clips, the recent previews, and it just looks insane. It just looks like there's so much to do, and there's just so much going on, and like the city is huge, and so I know you.
It seems like the NPCs actually have a life. They're not stuck on a loop.
Yeah, it's kind of like Red Dead Redemption 2. Like they would kind of move around, do their own thing. They had their own stories, and they were only certain places, certain times of days and stuff. And that stuff is so cool, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Number 5, Ghost of Tsushima developer Sucker Punch Productions announced on Monday that their upcoming open-world samurai action game, that's a mouthful, has gone gold, meaning that production is now complete and it will move on to mass production. Ghost of Tsushima will launch on July 17th on PlayStation 4. So they're done with the game, Travis, which is good news, and that means that there will be no more delays. And all that they're going to work on now probably is a day one update. I think they've already announced something about it being like a 7 gig update. So they're just working on bugs and things like that they'll patch. And I'm really excited for this one. This game looks awesome.
I'm glad that they're done so we can finally start. And I love samurai, and now I get to be one. And I get to be a sneaky guy, or I can be a traditional honorable guy, which I'm sure I'll do a little bit of both. Like I do on Red Dead, where I don't ever, I'm not totally bad, but I'm not totally good. I don't know, I'm just stoked. It looks awesome, and I'm excited to play a game without a waypoint. I like how it's completely different.
Yeah, that is cool.
I like how little animals will show you stuff. It's kind of cool. It's like, if you do any research into like the samurai and kind of how their culture works, the fact that animals are showing you stuff is pretty awesome. It's pretty spot on.
So are you going to get the game? You going to play it?
Yeah, how many times do I get to be a samurai?
Okay, it's you're putting it out there in the universe on the podcast ether, so you can't go back now.
Yeah, I'm not worried about being a robot guy with a huge cock like on CyberPunk. I'll be a samurai though. We'll worry about the robot guy later if the game ever comes out.
It looks so awesome. Ghost of Tsushima, and it's going to take me a long time to actually say that right because everything in me wants to say Tsushima, but apparently
I'm going to say it wrong forever.
You like to say Ghost of Shishimi.
Yeah, it's Ghost of Shishimi.
But it is Ghost of Tsushima.
Hmm.
Number 6, Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. Great title.
Cheeky name.
Was announced on Monday. It is a proper sequel to the original trilogy, and it's coming to PS4 on October the 2nd. Are you excited about this one?
Why did it take them 2 generations for this?
That's a great question.
I don't understand.
I feel like they did because they remastered the trilogy and released it, maybe a year ago, right?
It was a test, kind of.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of like, all right, well, let's see if anybody gives a shit about this, and if it sells well and people like it, then all right, we'll go ahead and we'll go full bore on a proper sequel to the trilogy. So I watched the trailer of it. It had some gameplay in it. It looks cool. I'm kind of out of the Crash Bandicoot. Like, I played all the original trilogy games. That was one of the first games I had on the original PlayStation. So
yeah, for sure.
There's definitely a spot in my heart for it nostalgically, but I don't know that I'm not sure that I want to play this game. Well, what do you think about it?
I mean, I crushed it when I was a kid. The thing is, though, it just depends what else is out whenever it finally arrives. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
If there's nothing else to play, I mean, I'm sure it's not like it's going to be a 100-hour game, theoretically.
Yeah, we might around that time, or pretty close. We might have a new Call of Duty, the rumored Black Ops Cold War game or whatever. So it might be a bad time.
Yeah, I mean, it could do worse though.
Number 7, Dirt 5, kind of like CyberPunk, got the preview cycle this week as well. There are a bunch of videos out there with some gameplay from the previews that the various news outlets and websites did. So from what I saw of it, it had great graphics. There were dynamic weather changes that were really cool. One of the videos I saw, it went from not snowing to like a blizzard almost to thunder snow. And so I thought that was really cool. But it appears that it's also no longer a sim racer. And from what they're kind of putting out there and what I'm reading, they're going to focus on the Dirt Rally series subtitle of games as the hardcore simulation rally game, and they're going to treat the Dirt numeric series, Dirt 5, Dirt 6, whatever, as kind of a more arcadey series of the game. So what did you watch any of the preview coverage or see any of the videos of the game? What did you think?
Oh yeah, I'm a sucker for dynamic weather in any game. Doesn't matter. Be a racing game, it could be a Ghost of Tsushima. I don't care if you can make the sun go up and down and make it rain randomly. I think it's awesome. I love that. I never thought we'd be able to do that.
Yeah, I thought this game looks really cool. Like, I was interested from the first reveal trailer that they did or whatever. Like, I was like, okay, this looks kind of cool because I liked it. Kind of reminded me of The Crew. I was like, well, this looks neat. And then after seeing like the actual gameplay this week, I was like, all right, I think I might be in.
Yeah, it's got a little Forza in it, and there's a million different cars you can do, and it's like you said, it's not really a sim anymore, so the physics are a little more forgiving. And there's certain racing games that you don't want to drive with a wheel because you're just at a disadvantage. And usually the more arcadey games are the ones that are they're made for a gamepad. And this is one of those. Like, if you're doing Dirt Rally on the controller, like, you're at a disadvantage. It's harder to be quick on a controller in that type of game than it is on a wheel, and it's the vice versa in this kind of thing because just the way the physics are and the way the game's set up. But it's good that they're doing 2 different things, I think, because it gives both games or both series time to breathe in between each other, and you're not putting one out right after the other. And I think that's good for any kind of game. I think studio in general, like, I think that would even be good for Call of Duty if they had a completely different thing they did every other year.
Yeah, I kind of like what, along those lines, I like what Assassin's Creed has done. So we're not getting Assassin's Creed every year anymore because they pretty much burnt everybody out on it.
Yeah.
And then now we get it every couple of years, which I think is perfect. So, I mean, they figured that out. Thank God. That's the perfect way to do it. Just give us an Assassin's Creed game every couple of years. Like you said, I wish Call of Duty would do the same thing because Modern Warfare is awesome. I could play it until fall of 2021 and be fine. Like,
we're getting 50 gigabyte updates anyway.
Exactly. So I do agree with you. It's cool that Dirt 5 is it seems like going to do that same thing where maybe every other year they may have a Dirt game out every year, but one year it's Dirt Rally. Probably not. That's probably not realistic on next gen. But every couple of years we'll have a game. Every 2 years from now it's Rally, and then the next 2 years later it's Dirt 6. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it looks really fun.
Number 8, Ubisoft announced on Wednesday that Assassin's Creed Valhalla creative director Ashraf Ismail, I hope I said his name right, probably not, is stepping down from the project to take a leave of absence. Ismail was accused recently of cheating on his wife and sexual misconduct. This comes on the back of sexual misconduct allegations popping up around the gaming industry lately, as fellow industry veteran Chris Avellone, I hope I said his name right, who worked on games like Fallout New Vegas and the upcoming Dying Light 2, was the subject of allegations last weekend as well. Since this news came to light, Ubisoft has launched a deeper investigation of allegations within the company beyond just Ashraf Ismail. So this is maybe a little bit concerning because the game Assassin's Creed Valhalla is supposed to come out this fall. I'm assuming probably in October, like they usually release. And he's the creative director, basically the guy managing the project of the whole game. And so this is concerning that it's so close to launch. However, I will say that at this point, they should have all of the story done. Obviously, the gameplay should be done being built. It should be content complete. So they should just be testing and kind of polishing and fine tuning at this point. But you still lose, the soul of your project, basically. So that's kind of a red flag. But what do you think about this?
Does he make them enough money to keep his job?
Yes. So he did Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, which is one of the most popular Assassin's Creeds. He did Origins, which is the one in Egypt, which is my favorite. Mm-hmm. And then now he's doing this game. So he's done arguably probably the three biggest
ones.
Last Assassin's Creed games. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe back in August.
Yeah, because they didn't fire him. They just said he's stepping down from the project. So
well, yeah. See, he cheated on his wife. It's different than, texting an underage girl. So I think he has that going for him.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So I think that the fact that they did launch the investigation, so I guess they're going to look into it more. But the fact that unless he cheated on his wife with somebody who works under him, it was somebody that works under him at Ubisoft. I mean, that's the only thing I can see. But I'm kind of with you on this. I think he might disappear for a little while, maybe even until after the game launches, and then we'll just hear around Christmas time, Ashraf is back. It's not a big deal.
He'll just appear on a game one day.
Yeah. Yeah. Number 9, and the final news story of the week here. Sony announced on Wednesday that they are teaming up with HackerOne to create the PlayStation Bug Bounty Program, where users will get paid bounty rewards to discover hacks on the PS4 and the PlayStation Network. Senior Director for Software Engineering, Jeff Norton, said, "Our bug bounty program has rewards for various issues, including critical issues on PS4. Critical vulnerabilities for PS4 have bounties starting at $50,000. The program has been running privately with researchers up until this point, but is now open to the public, seemingly." What do you think about this? This is pretty cool. So you can get paid $50,000 large if you find a critical security vulnerability on the PS4 or the network.
The obvious answer is that we make one and then report it and say we found it.
Right?
And we can just do this every other week and we'll be golden.
Yes. We'll buy all the PS5s.
Yeah, we'll buy. Hey, man, we found all the loopholes and we took care of them for you.
It's cool. This is cool because obviously they're going to pay people a bunch of money if they find a really critical bug or problem, which is awesome. But it's also
probably cheaper for them to do it this way than actually have to deal with it on their own.
Oh, absolutely. Think about whenever, I guess it was on the PS3. Remember when the PS3 and right around the time SOCOM launched and everything, and they
was dead.
Yeah, the PSN was down for like 3 months or something because they got hacked. How many millions do you think they lost on that one compared to $50,000?
Killed the SOCOM series. I haven't had one since, have we?
No, we haven't. I wish we would. I was hoping they would announce that at the reveal event, but maybe it's still coming one day. A guy can dream. So that is all for the news this week. We'll move on to the new game releases. I've broken it down this week between North America and Europe. I think we do have some listeners across the pond. So we'll start with North America. And I will say that we did read some of these games last week because last week we had the list from PlayStation directly of games coming out this week. This week, PlayStation did not put out any list of games coming next week. So I had to use PlayStation Lifestyle, a PlayStation website that had a list of games that were new to the PlayStation Store this week. So there's some overlap here, so just had to bear with me. In North America this week on PlayStation VR, Coaster comes out. On PlayStation 4, we get Alpha Invasion, Arcade Archives Naughty Boy. Great name. Assetto Corsa Competizione, which we definitely read last week. Bowling,
great name.
Yeah, just bowling. The Coma 2, Vicious Sisters, Edna and Harvey, The Breakout, Anniversary Edition, The Last of Us Part 2, Little Town Hero, Mad Runner, Namco Museum Archives Volume 1 and Namco Museum Archives Volume 2, Octonaut, which we read last week, Radio Squid, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, which we also read last week, and finally, in North America this week, Ultra Core. Over in Europe, on PSVR, they're getting Pancake House, which we also talked about last week. It's the Pancake Pantry. On PS4, they're getting Alpha Invasion, Arcade Archives Naughty Boy, Assetto Corsa Competizione, Bowling, The Coma 2, Vicious Sisters, Edna and Harvey, The Breakout, Anniversary Edition, Jump Step Step, The Last of Us Part 2, Mobile Suit Gundam, as they probably say, Extreme versus Maxi Boost on Open.
What?
Yeah. It's open access, so it's a free-to-play game.
Yeah.
What kind of name it?
Why is it all in caps?
Why
are they yelling at us?
Mobile Suit Gundam Extreme versus Maxi Boost. Namco Museum Archives Volume 1, Namco Museum Archives Volume 2, Radio Squid, SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, A Summer with the Shiba Inu, which we talked about last week, Yee's Memory of Celceta. And that is all for the new game releases this week. Now, let's move on to our questions, comments, and concerns segment. And I have an interesting one for you today, Travis. I saw this today on an email that I get every day. There's sometimes some random thoughts in there. And I saw this one and I was like, that's a valid point. So if you think about this, there's a better than 0% chance that a mosquito will bite you today, suck your blood, run out, get preserved in amber, be fossilized, dug up sometime in the future, and then someone will take your DNA from the blood and the mosquito and clone you from your DNA hundreds of years from now. How's it feel that you could be, a Travis could be walking around hundreds or thousands of years from now?
Sounds terrible because I'm not sure I want to be walking around a week from now. So you're telling me that a million years from now, a highly advanced humanoid version could replicate me and create Travis Park? Maybe a white guy in a suit with a cane. and and I'd be in a cage. There would be a Chris Pratt looking guy that could tame me, teach me how to eat stuff, and follow his orders with a clicker. Sounds pretty cool.
Yes, and then a guy ruins it all because he drives his Jeep off a muddy road down a cliff, down a ravine, and it's all over from there.
I hope they clone Jeff Goldblum so he can be there with me.
It's really really interesting to think about. So I mean, it's like you said, Travis Park.
I like Jurassic Park better. What is amber? What is it originally like? Is that sap or is it like maple syrup? I don't know what amber is.
That's a good question. It seems like a sap to me, but I don't know what you get amber from. Do you know what you get amber from? Is it like, oh, the amber tree over there? Like, do you know? I have no idea.
The only amber I knew was my neighbor, and I don't think anybody wanted to be in her.
Let's look this up. Where does amber?
I'm gonna go with tree sap. I don't have any other guess.
Okay, this is what?
Did it take you to the Amber Alert system?
No, it took me to some jewelry designer thing. Hang on.
Perfect.
That's not what I need.
Is it Giovanni Versace?
Let's go to Wikipedia. No, it wasn't Versace. All right. Wikipedia is never wrong, right?
Right.
Amber is fossilized tree resin, which has been appreciated for its color and natural beauty. Yes, we know. There are 5 classes of amber defined on the basis of their chemical constituents. Because it originates as a soft, sticky tree resin, amber sometimes contains animal and plant material as inclusions, which is what we're talking about. So it's just fossilized tree resin. I'm trying to find...
What is tree resin?
I guess you would
tree
work.
Blood?
Yeah, so like you would work. So I guess like when you cut a tree up, it has to be tree sap, right?
I always called it sap. I've never heard of somebody call it resin.
I haven't either, but they have to mean sap, right? So like you cut the tree open, you get the sap. Yeah, so it's fossilized tree sap.
While you're on Wikipedia, you should look up the Amber Room.
The Amber Room?
Yeah, have you heard of the Amber Room?
No, is this gonna be something I might have to scrub my computer for afterwards?
No, it's a room the Russians had that the Nazis stole in World War II, and they never could find it.
The Amber Room was a chamber decorated in amber panels, backed with gold leaf and mirrors, located in the Catherine Palace of I can't say that name, near St. Petersburg. Yada yada. The room was dismantled and eventually disappeared during World War II. Before its loss, it was considered an 8th wonder of the world. Hand-colored photograph of the original Amber Room. Does this have anything to do with that movie that George Clooney is in about the paintings during World War II? The Monuments Men?
They weren't specifically looking for that. They were looking for other lost treasures, but the idea is it's on a train car somewhere in a mountain in like Holland or Germany somewhere. They have no idea. But the idea that the Germans... The idea that they broke it up and sold it off is probably not likely. They probably wanted to keep the room intact so Hitler could have it, like at the Eagle's Nest or something.
Mm-hmm. How does that happen though? Like, okay, that was 1940s, 30s. Like, that's not like it's like 500 years ago or 1,000 years ago. How do you just lose like a train or whatever, a truck?
Great question.
Like, how does that happen?
People say that that the Nazis had dug all these underground tunnels, and when they realized they were going to lose the war, they flooded them. But they've never found anything. The most likely solution is it's one of 2 things is the solution. It was on a train, and it got hit with some sort of artillery or a bomb or something, and it exploded and it destroyed it. Or it's in a private collection, and you'll never hear about it.
Right. So it'll just die with whoever up in the mountains somewhere.
Yeah, like somebody walked off with it. The war was ending. Rudolf Hess got it and sent it to like his cousin in Bavaria, and that's where it is.
Well, now it's time for a requested segment by yourself. We're going to play a little game called Explain a Game to Travis.
I think it'll be a lot of fun.
So what we're gonna do here is each week I'm going to pick a game. I will have played the game, most likely. And I'm going to tell you what the game is first. I'm going to tell you the title, and if there's a subtitle, I'll give you what's on the box. And the first thing I want to do is I want you to tell me what you think the plot of the game is. and then I will tell you what the real plot of the game is, and then we can talk about it. So the first game that I chose is a game that most people are familiar with. It's Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots. So Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots released in 2008 on the PlayStation 3. It's a Hideo Kojima game. Tell me what you think the game's about.
2008. Let's see.
Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots.
I had my first girlfriend at the time, so probably wasn't playing games. Metal Gear Solid Guns of the Patriots. I'm going to assume it takes place in America, and we got some guns from some patriots. So the South has risen, maybe for some reason. The South has risen, and maybe not. The American patriots are getting taken over by an outside evil force. And then we've got those guns and given them to the main character. The guy, he has one eye and one arm. No arms. He has one eye, I know that. And his name is Snape.
Okay.
And he can like hide in cardboard boxes. And he's like really stealthy. And you probably are going to use the Patriot gun to like disarm a nuclear bomb or something maybe and free the president. It's like Olympus has fallen, but you have one eye.
Well, you started really cold and you started to get a little warm there at the end, and believe it or not. So I'm going to read you some pieces of the plot from Wikipedia, and I want you to comment on them. All right, are you ready?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Set 5 years after the events of Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty.
Okay, where are we at? Where does that put us? I don't know what that means.
Hang on, I'll get there. This is just a flyover, and then I'll get into the weeds a little bit.
The Sons of Liberty.
Yeah, that was the subtitle of number 2.
Okay, that was a group in the Revolutionary War.
Yeah. Set 5 years after the events of Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty. The story centers around a prematurely aged Solid Snake, now known as Old Snake.
Wait, what does prematurely aged mean?
So in the game, he's got an old man's body, but he's not that old.
Okay. So he has like body dementia?
Yeah, it's like Benjamin Button sort of.
Okay.
Okay.
I wouldn't have guessed that in my plot.
Prematurely aged Solid Snake, now known as Old Snake, as he goes on one last mission to assassinate his nemesis, Liquid Snake, who now inhabits the body of his former henchman, Revolver Ocelot.
Okay, time. There's two snakes.
Yes, so
and one is Liquid.
Yes, Liquid Snake and Solid Snake are brothers.
All right, well, why is there a gas snake?
Not yet.
Why is he called Liquid Snake? Is that just his name, or is it like a trait?
Yeah, no, it's just a name. It's not a trait.
Okay, so how did he get into the other body?
So
was he dead?
Hopefully I'll talk about that. Who now inhabits the body of his former henchman, Revolver Ocelot. Who
named these guys?
It's made by Hideo Kojima. Under the guise of Liquid Ocelot. Created.
But there's two Ocelots?
So Liquid Snake now inhabits the body of Revolver Ocelot. He's now
Liquid Ocelot.
He's now Liquid Ocelot. Yes.
Sorry. Okay.
So before Liquid Ocelot Snake must assassinate him before Liquid Ocelot takes control of the Sons of the Patriots, an AI system that controls the activities of PMCs, private military corporations, private military corporations worldwide. Mm-hmm. All right, that's the flyover. Let's get into the plot here. So the setting. Guns of the Patriots is set in 2014, 9 years after the events of the original Metal Gear Solid, and 5 years after Metal Gear Solid 2. The world's economy in this universe relies on continuous civil wars fought by PMCs, which outnumber government military forces, which I think might actually be true in some countries. Like there's more PMC forces on the ground than actual government military. Anyway, soldiers are equipped with nano machines that monitor and enhance their performance on the battlefield.
Like in their blood?
Correct. controlled by a vast network known as the Sons of the Patriots system. Revolver Ocelot, missing since the events of Metal Gear Solid 2, is possessed by the will of Liquid Snake.
Wait, so we didn't have him for a whole game.
Yes.
And I'm supposed to remember that?
Yes.
10 years later?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not gonna remember that.
So Revolver Ocelot is now possessed by the will of Liquid Snake, the Solid Snake's brother, and he reemerges from hiding to launch an insurrection against the Patriots, a secret cabal which manipulates global affairs from the shadows. So kind of like the Illuminati.
When did Liquid Snake die?
I think he died I'm not sure. Maybe we'll get to that. I can't remember.
If he didn't die, then what happened to his old body when he inhabited Brock Osweiler or whatever his name was?
Right. So I think he may have died in one. I'm not sure. Solid Snake, meanwhile, the protagonist, is experiencing accelerated aging and has about a year left to live. He is living on board the airplane Nomad with Dr. Hal Otacon Emmerich and Olga Gerlukovich's daughter, Sunny, a child prodigy in computer programming. Since the aftermath of the Big Shell incident, which is Metal Gear Solid 2.
Is the Nomad just fly around incessantly?
Yes, it's like the ship from the Avengers.
Okay, and then what's the Big Shell? Do they get shelled?
The Big Shell incident, there was a oil rig that they called the Big Shell, where they were housing a version of Metal Gear.
Wait, what is Metal Gear?
It's a big mech, like super weapon. Like it's a mech that can fire nuclear weapons, basically.
So it's like a missile silo?
Yeah, it's like a robot that can shoot nuclear missiles.
But we have to have this human with Benjamin Button disease stop everything, but we have that.
Correct.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, that's the bad guys have that. The bad guys have Metal Gear.
But he's called Metal Gear.
The game's called Metal Gear Solid.
He doesn't work for Metal Gear.
No, Metal Gear is just a piece of technology.
He's called Solid Snake.
Yes, that's his code name.
What does Metal Gear Solid mean?
Because Metal Gear, and then I think they just combined because the guy's name was Solid Snake, so they just made it Metal Gear Solid because it sounded cool. So, since the aftermath of the Big Shell incident in Metal Gear Solid 2, Raiden, who's another character
that you play only as him in one of the games, right?
Yeah, and Metal Gear Solid 2.
Cool.
Raiden has drifted away from Rose, who had apparently suffered a miscarriage with their child, and gone to live with the former commander, Colonel Roy Campbell. And Raiden has become a cyborg ninja fighting against the Patriots.
Jesus Christ, there's so many fucking characters.
Meryl Silverburr commands a PMC inspection unit in the U.S. military, which includes Johnny Sasaki, who is Raiden.
Well, I thought Raiden was a cyborg.
He is, but he goes by Johnny Sasaki, kind of like, Raiden is his alias, like Solid Snake is the alias for the main guy.
But he's still a cyborg.
Raiden is a cyborg, yes.
Yeah, so he's Ronda Rousey. Isn't she a cyborg?
It's like CyberPunk, but like 12 years early.
Well, this is already more interesting than that.
Yes. Let's see. Let me try to sum this up for you in a way, so you know how it ends. Metal Gear Solid 4 meaning. Let's see if I can go to the last paragraph here.
When do you get to be in cardboard boxes?
The whole game.
So he's like part cat.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So if you haven't played Metal Gear Solid 4 and you plan on doing it, this is spoiler territory coming up. So turn the podcast off, pause it, fast forward it, whatever. But we're about to spoil the ending of the game for you. So I'm going to skip ahead. You can just understand that there's a lot of political intrigue and we're fighting guys and sneaking around and stuff, right? You got it?
Yeah, that sounds like most games.
Yeah, so the Metal Gear is called Rex and it has a railgun in this game. Anyway.
So we just named the Metal Gear thing?
Yeah, they have different names. There's different versions. This one's Rex.
So are there different like oil rigs set up that are like metal rigs?
There's different facility. There's different facilities around the world. So in the first game, the facility was in Alaska.
Okay, so you're going to different facilities in each game.
Yeah, in a way. All right, so we're at the end of the game. Okay, Snake is trying to save the world. So seizing the moment, again, spoilers. Seizing the moment, it surfaces to launch the nuke. Snake, Meryl, and Johnny, which is Raiden the cyborg, board a ship via catapults. The Metal Gear's on a ship. When Snake arrives at the core to shut it down, he uses Otacon's robot to install a computer virus coded by Naomi and Sonny into Liquid's Trojan AI. So Liquid got into the Ocelot guy via an AI, and it now destroys not only the core AI but the entire Patriot AI network that controls the global affairs as well, while leaving the bare necessities for modern civilization to survive. The destruction of the Patriots brings the war economy to a halt and foils their plan to impose Sons of the Patriots nanomachines technology onto civilian populations worldwide. After passing out in the core room, Snake awakens atop Outer Haven's tower to find Liquid, Ocelot. Liquid explains that he allowed the virus to be installed knowing it would achieve his goal of destroying the Patriots. So Liquid wanted to destroy the Patriots all along. Liquid says he still has a score to settle with Snake, and the two engage in a final fist fight.
Time before we get to that. So they got on the rig with a catapult.
Yes.
So they flew.
Yes.
And landed.
Yes.
And then we put this virus in with a USB drive.
Yes.
And Liquid Snake's like, "Hey, bro, I did that shit to delete it."
Right. I wanted to do the same shit all along, but it doesn't matter. We're still going to fight.
Why did he let him do that? Why didn't he just do it?
I don't know.
That doesn't make any. Why would you? That's a lot of extra steps. You just hit delete.
So, in a final fist, the two engage in a final fist fight, with Snake emerging victorious over Liquid Ocelot. Liquid becomes Revolver Ocelot once again before dying.
Oh, so that's nice for him.
So he reverts back to Revolver Ocelot before he dies.
Uh-huh.
So that's how the game ends. There's a post-credit scene that won't really make a whole lot of sense, but there's some more twists and turns at the end there. But
where did Liquid Snake go?
So Liquid was an AI in the nanomachine technology that was in Revolver Ocelot that was controlling him.
How did the AI install itself if the human that wanted it installed was already dead?
I'm not clear on that. That's a good question. I'm not real clear on how that happened.
But, so I played 4 games to delete this thing, and my brother could have done it the whole time. Or he could have been on my team, and we could have probably done it in 2 games.
Yeah, exactly. And that, Travis, is Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots in a nutshell.
And that has like a 9.9 or something?
It has multiple 10s, multiple perfect scores. It's one of my favorite games ever. And it's just really cinematic, and it's got one of the best endings ever in a video game. When you're on top of this ship and you're in the fist fight with Liquid, and it's just awesome. It's really cool, really cinematic. So started off with a doozy because I knew that it would throw you for a loop, and you wouldn't believe how it all goes down. So hopefully I did it justice. We'll wrap up the episode talking about what we have coming up this week in video games. So what are you playing this week? Do you have any races you're going to do? Do you have any kind of milestones or anything that you're going after?
I probably won't race until I finish my racing wall beside the rig. I don't like to race unless everything is in order for some reason. Really particular about it. Let's see. I still don't have the Vector yet, so eventually I'll get there. I'd like to beat Dying Light this week at some point. That would be at least get to where we can dune buggy over zombies.
Yeah, hopefully we can play that tonight with the guys.
Yeah, if everybody's on and not trying to get their 100th platinum. hopefully we can go ahead and get that done.
Anything else you're going to play this week?
Probably not. That's probably good enough for me. That'll keep me busy.
So I plan on playing Red Dead Online, obviously. Got to get my daily challenges. I'll probably definitely mix in some Modern Warfare with the guys. And like Travis said, we'll try to work our way through Dying Light and get that finished and onto the DLC because I'm anxious to see kind of how that plays and what that's about. Mm-hmm. They actually announced a new DLC package for Dying Light today after the game's been out for, I think, 5 years at this point.
Yeah. So there already 3 or 4? How many are there right
now? There's just the one. Well, no, there's more than that. I'm not sure, but they're still releasing content for the game 5 years later. So,
well, the guy on the team just got accused of sexual assault, so they had to release something.
Yeah, they had to cover it up, right? Change directions.
Yeah, maybe he'll transform and put his AI into another man, and he can complete the game.
That's good. So, also, I'm hoping to take a big chunk out of The Last of Us 2 this week. Hopefully, I'll get a lot in this weekend, so I can make a pretty good dent into that. I can't wait to play that some more. And I think that's about it. I might mix in a little bit of Steep. I randomly play the Vita. Like I'll just play it for a few minutes in bed or something. So I'll probably do that as well. And that should be it. So, and we're done. That's all we got this week, Travis. We'll try to do better next week. Just a quick housekeeping note. We are trying to upgrade our audio setup. So hopefully in the near future, we'll have some new microphones and stuff. We'll sound clearer and everything for you guys. And yeah, we're trying to upgrade it a little bit. So just bear with us on that. And don't forget to subscribe, rate us, and share us with a friend. And we'll hope to see you next week and hope that you tune in for episode 3.